lesson, we're going to be finding the volume of cones. And the formula that we will be using will be volume is equal to 1/3 base area, capital B, times the height of the cone. Well, when you see we have a cone, you see that it narrows out, and that's why the 1/3 is in front there. So now the formula that we'll actually use, because for a cone, you can see your base is a circle. And so it's going to be 1/3 pi r squared is the area of our circle times the height of the cone. And our directions are going to tell us to use 3.14 for pi and to round our answer to the nearest hundredth. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's get started with the first problem. I'm going to go ahead and I always start, with writing that formula. Volume is equal to, it is 1/3 pi r squared h. So our volume is equal to 1/3 times 3.14 for pi. The radius of the circle is 4, and we have to square that. And then the height of the actual cone is a 15. So we know we're going to definitely need to do the squaring first. So volume is equal to 1/3 times 3.14. 4 squared is 4 times 4, which is 16, times 15. So now I'm going to work this like you're not using a calculator, but if you are using a calculator, you will put all of these values in and you'll round your final answer to the nearest hundredth. But right now, as we're working these problems, say you're not in a situation where you're able to use a calculator, I'm going to go ahead and work it like I'm not allowed to use a calculator. So volume is equal to 1/3 times 3.14 actually is a rounded answer. And I'm going to write down 3 decimal places since our answer is going to be rounded to the nearest hundredth, where our answer to the nearest thousandth would help us. So now we know we have to still multiply times 16 times 15. So our volume is equal to 1.047 times 16 is 16.752. And we're going to multiply that times 15. And now I'm going to go ahead and I am going to do my last multiplication. And so my volume is equal to 251.28. And that is without me doing any kind of rounding right now. That's what I came up with. And so our answer is going to be in inches cubed. Remember, volume is always in cubic units. So here is the answer if you multiplied. So let's say you actually used a calculator. And I'm just going to write my calculator answer up here. If I did not multiply all those out, I just put everything into the calculator. And you would have gotten the volume is equal to 251 2/10 inches cubed. So as we're looking at this, let's make our comparison. Notice it's a little bit off because we rounded it. But this is where, as you're putting your numbers in your calculator, you do not round anything until you get to your final answer. So this is when you multiply. This is if you used a calculator to do all of this multiplication that would have been right here. All right, let's look at the second problem that we have. I'm thinking that they have something in that picture that might be a little bit confusing. So I see I have a cone, because of the circle base, and I have the height of my cone. Well, this is kind of like a side dimension. And nowhere in our formula does it mention a side dimension. It mentions the height. And the height always hits the base at 90 degrees. So this is actually extra information thrown in to throw you off. But I know that you were too smart for that. So let's start by writing our formula again. So volume is equal to 1/3 pi r squared times our height. The area of the base times the height. So volume is equal to 1/3. And I'm going to then multiply it by 3.14. My radius is going to be squared, so it's going to be 9 squared. And the height is always hits the base at 90 degrees. So the height is 9. Don't fall into that trap. So now when we go ahead and we do 1/3 times 3.14, we had it over here. The rounded answer was 1 47 thousandths. And here we needed to actually do this first. So let's go ahead and do 9 squared is times 81. And then we're going to multiply it times 9. So here are our three numbers that we will end up multiplying. So the volume is 1 47/100 times 81 now. And when I multiply that, I get 84 807 thousandths. And now I'm going ahead and multiply it by 9. And my volume is going to be 763.263 is what comes up on my calculator. Well, remember, it said round me to the nearest hundredth. So I'm looking here, and this is a 3. So we know that our volume for this problem is going to be 763 26 hundredths, and that is in meters cubed. So let's say, all right, you went ahead and you used your calculator. So let's write your calculator answer up here. You're lucky enough to be able to use a calculator and you don't have to do all this multiplying out. When we're using our calculator, again, I would use it when it came to putting this in. You're going to have this, and I'm going to write that out for you. So volume is equal to 1/3, and we have 3.14. We end up with 9 squared here and a 9. So when we're doing this, before you get stuff in your calculator, you need to first do 9 squared. So this is what you will be putting into your calculator. And when you put that into your calculator, you end up with an answer of 763 200ths. And again, that would be in meters cubed. So this is using the calculator where the answer is not rounded till the end. And, you know, our answers are always rounded because we're using 3.14, and 3.14 goes on forever. But notice the difference of those two answers. It is a little bit because we gave a rounded answer and then we multiplied it times 81 and times 9. So this is if you did it by hand. This answer is if you would have done it by a calculator. If this video was helpful to you today, please add a like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe for more Math with Marcia. See you again soon.